San Francisco has been long known for its punk scene. Since the mid-1970s, punk music became the epicenter of the city. California punk of this period was musically very eclectic, and the punk scene of the time included a number of bands whose sound strongly crossed over to experimental punk, new wave, and synth punk. As I walked through the streets of the Mission District, I came across Aquarius Records. The shop, located on Valencia Street, oozed a sense of 70s nostalgia, and it drew me in.
Well, I wouldn't know, of course, because I didn't own the store then or work here then, but the store did start in 1970.
That's Alan, who has been working at the record shop since the early 1990s.
It's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, independent record store in the city. The store in the 70s was the San Francisco's place for people to get the punk and new wave import vinyl.
The shop initially opened for business in the Castro district. A decade later, they moved to Noy Valley. But it wasn't until they moved to the Mission District when they noticed that their credibility grew.
We moved to Valencia Street because in the Mission was where a lot of our customers lived, because that was where it was cheap to live here to some extent, and people who were artists and musicians, and it was kind of like there's a punk rock scene here and so forth. And we found that when we were up in Noe Valley up the hill, a lot of our customers would be coming up from the Mission, so it made sense to move to Valencia Street, where they'd be able to go by on their way home.
As their credibility rose in the Mission, more and more customers came in through the doors. Not only do they sell in-store, but they also take orders from around the world.
So we have regular customers also around the world who will order from us frequently, and then some of those folks we also get to know who, if they ever come to San Francisco, they come here, and we have, a lot of times I'll see people come in and they're dragging suitcases behind them that come straight from the airport, and the first thing they do is come to Aquarius, so that's pretty neat.
Fast forward to the early 21st century, digital music became the easier way to attain music. Because of this, the demand for physical copies and financial distress of many often pushed people away from purchasing at shops like Aquarius.
There's been a downturn in the economy in 2008 around then, and so there's definitely been a drop off since then, in part probably because people have changed their buying habits or non-buying habits for the music that they consume.
The ever-changing landscape of the district has also affected the ability to attain new customers.
The Mission is no longer the cheap place to live in the city, obviously, and there's tons of changes with commercial spaces. There's all these restaurants now. People shop at those restaurants, so they're not coming by to buy records, on the way to dinner. And there's condos being built across the street from us. It used to be a KFC, and then it became a sushi restaurant, and then it's going to get torn down, and there's plans to build a 5-story condominium housing. And in the past, you'd be like, oh, that'd be cool. There's going to be more people living over there. They'll come buy records. Well, I venture to guess that a large number of the people who are going to buy expensive condominiums across the street here are probably, not all going to be major, music fiends who are going to come down here and buy across the street and buy LPs and CDs and stuff.
Because of this, promotion and sponsorships are critical aspects of the store's ability to stay afloat as a business.
We try to have, when there's bands that we like who get a hold of us, or that we get a hold of who are coming through town, who can do in-store performances. We'll have people play in the store. We sponsor shows and co-sponsor shows at various venues around town. Like recently there was a band from Italy from the 70s called Sensations Fix, or this amazing Italian synth prog band, and they performed. We work with radio station KFJC, and they did a fundraiser thing out here in front of the store. They do every couple of years with us, where they just broadcast from the sidewalk.
Regardless of the blessings and burdens they have received during their decades of operation, they have made a huge impact on how many receive their music, and they hope to continue doing this for many years to come.
I hope that the store will still be around. The store's been around for over 40 years. It'd be nice to think that it's still going to be around in 20 years. I'm sure it's going to be pretty different. We've always maintained being a part of San Francisco's underground music community, and also part of not just San Francisco, but because we are connected around the world with our customers that we do mail order with, and all the bands and labels that we deal with around the world. So, chances are in 20 years, it'll definitely be different, and hopefully we'll still be around. Yeah,